And next on the stage, I would like to welcome Alexander Draaijer. Alexander Draaijer he has two roles at Splashtop, serving as the general manager for Splashtop EMEA and VP of sales in the Americas as well. His responsibilities include expanding EMEA operations, increasing sales, and identifying new opportunities. He has a background in US venture-backed SaaS firms, and he has a track record of successfully managing European and Asia-Pacific operations, including guiding them through IPOs and acquisitions. His topic is going to be going deep before going wide. Please welcome Alexander Draaijer.
Thank you, Daniela.
And a good song as well.
Yeah, thank you.
Stage, if I can. Because Alexander, I wanted to ask, so your topic is going wide before going deep. Is there a way to do both?
There is. If you would like to lose a lot of valuable time and money, I would like to go wide. If you have focus, I would prefer to go deep. But I think it depends on your business model. But I'm going to share my experience where we went deep over wide.
Great, thank you so much. Yeah. One more round of applause, please.
Thank you very much. Hi, welcome everybody. I hope it's a fruitful day for everybody. So far, I really enjoyed it. SaaSiest, thank you so much for the opportunity because we made really good connections. We're here to mingle, to network, so I'm going to share a little bit about my history. The reason why I picked around the world is because I'm going to speak about global expansion, right? So there are two reasons why I picked this song. It's first, it's global expansion. Secondly, it's the only song from which I know the full lyrics, because apparently I think everybody is data-driven. The radio edit repeats this sentence 80 times, and the club edit 144 times. So just so you know. But in this session, I would like to talk about why going deep prevails over going wide. Because we're going to network, we're going to share experiences. I already learned so much about ABM, but also I met companies who can help me scale into other regions. They're sitting over there, I think it's Deal. But a little bit about my background, so we can continue to network, mingle, and create opportunities. I studied construction because I wanted to be an architect. I always wanted to be in IT. That never happened because I had a bunch of non-believers next to me who said, you're never going to get a job if you go into IT. So I missed some pivotal moments, but I had the opportunity to move to a different stage. From 2003, I started working in IT. I work in SaaS since 2008, so that makes 15 years of experience. I think the experience can be seen on the picture. It's closest related to reality. It's black and white. But I started my SaaS career at LogMeIn in 2008. So that was a whole different business model. High velocity, inbound. So absolutely has nothing to do with ABM. High velocity, top of funnel, inbound, low transactionals. And we pivoted to going upmarket. We never reached the ABM stage, but we IPO'd. I did a bunch of different companies. Also Rapid7, which is more closely related. That was value-based sales. Value-based sales comes a little bit closer, high selling to the enterprises, and we also brought that company IPO. So our last company was a software company that we sold to Ecolab, and Ecolab is one of the Fortune 500, it's a really big company, I think 47,000 people, $18 billion in revenue. We sold it. They wanted to move myself and my family to Minneapolis, but that's not my type. The reason why we're here is because the people in this crowd are startup, scale-up specialists, people who want to have an impact, not just to be a number. So I moved on, and I'm super fortunate because the last 3.5 years I work for Splashtop. Sorry, Splashtop. I should have known. For Splashtop because they wanted to expand outside North America. So I was the first person on the ground to help build up their EMEA presence. And I'm going to take you a little bit through the journey, what we've done. So. Around the world, to the song of Daft Punk, which is still fresh on my mind. I think my personal take on expanding internationally is like cooking with unfamiliar spices, right? It can go really, really well, or you mess it up. And there's not a lot in between. But what Steve Jobs once said, he said, saying no to good ideas is great. And I agree with him, right? It's a really good strategy and ability to say no, because that allows you to focus. So I think the opportunity around the globe is huge, right? Depending on who you ask or what you look at, it's between 7.5 and 8 billion people around the world. So trying to unleash your awesome SaaS offerings to everybody, it's probably not going to work out, because it's depending on your ICP. We've heard it before, your ideal customer profile. So where do you start, right? The Americas represent 13.5% of the world population. EMEA is close to 60% Asia Pacific. US is such a different market, and so if you go wide, you're going to learn a lot through trial and error, because you're going to make a lot of mistakes. You're going to burn a lot of valuable time, a lot of valuable money as well. So some years ago, like, a strategy was called hypergrowth, and I heard the team sitting over here talk about mishires. What they did 15 years ago, hypergrowth, was hiring a truckload of people, see who can be successful, and then get rid of those who can't be successful a little later. Like, that could be a strategy, but it's a horrible strategy, right? Talent is scarce. And so it needs to be smart, a more sustainable way of operating. And I think smart it's specific, it's measurable, it's assignable, it's realistic, and it's time related. And so I call this, I don't know if there's a right word, but I think it's a sustainable model. I'm Dutch, and I don't want to stereotype, so I keep it up to myself. People perceive me to be cheap. I'm pretty cheap. I don't like to spend more money than necessary, and so the model fits really my way of thinking. So why do people expand? There are multiple regions, right? I think one of the biggest is revenue growth, because you have access to new markets, which you can increase your sales, you can increase your revenue, your profits. But there are multiple areas why it's important to scale internationally. So I think one of the other things is also reducing risk. If you, and this is a tough word for a Dutch guy, diversification, that's sharing risk, right? So if you focus on one country alone, there's a risk, because you can leverage economies, stronger economies in different regions, so you can balance your revenue streams much better. But you can also have a competitive advantage, right? If you're the first mover in a market, you can become the market leader. But you can also leverage the advantage of taking down revenue. So Splashtop is similar to TeamViewer. What we do not need to educate people, we just rip and replace those organizations. Profitability in some cases, because in certain countries you can play with your margins, your price levels, so you can increase your profit margins, but also the demand can be bigger in certain regions, or you can leverage a strong economy from a country that you're going to land in. But also strategic partnerships can be really beneficial. I just had a meeting during lunch, and we spoke about international expansion. And I said, like, if you look at, for example, strategic alliances or technology partners that you can integrate with, that you can leverage. So if you think about the mutual value for your customers and for their partners, they can help you land and scale faster in those markets. And access to talent, I think everybody is fighting for talent nowadays. So if you find areas where talent is more available, an international expansion idea could be one, right? Engineers are really expensive because they got a lot of brain power. They're even more expensive in Silicon Valley, but in Eastern Europe, they're as smart and sometimes a little bit more cost effective. So really good thing to evaluate. But also brand building, right? Expanding internationally can enhance your brand recognition. And somehow, like, if you have some global brand recognition, it also does something positive to your trustworthiness, to the perception of your company. So I understand that not everybody is looking to expand throughout EMEA at once, and neither did we. So when the United States, our headquarters, decided that they want to expand internationally within the Europe, Middle East, and Africa region, they said, can you help us? And it's a really fragmented market, right? The United States are 50 states, I would say, just to stereotype, it's one language, almost one currency, so it's really easy. It's not easy because I know 2 speakers will follow me up later this afternoon to show how it's done. But it's easier than Europe, because how the US looks at Europe, they look at us as the 120 states of EMEA. But the only thing that they forgot is it represents 30% of the global population. There are over 120 different countries. Countries are buying behaviors, how people like to interact and buy, their different economies. But also, we transact in more than 100 currencies. I never realized that. But we also do business in 200 languages. Can you imagine, right? So where are you going to focus? It's going to be super, super tough. But your respective business model should be considered when assessing a new region. So that can be, do you have a direct business model? Is it fully e-commerce? Is it account-based marketing, fully to the enterprises? Direct channel, touch sales, no touch sales, all that kind of stuff. So if you look at the larger currencies, for example, the Great British Pound, GBP, that covers less than 3% of the EMEA population, and it's 9% of the European population. The euro, that's interesting, right? So the euro country represents 15% of the EMEA population. 343 million people buy in the euro currency, which is 49% of the of Europe. So that's a big one, but that only happens, like you can address that market if you're fully e-commerce driven. But nevertheless, you need to have a really good and strong strategy, because getting those people to your website and buy them asks a good strategy and a big investment. So what we've done is we decided to go deep instead of going wide. And why did we decide to go deep? Like, we're located in the Netherlands. That's our European headquarters. We said the Netherlands is going to be one because we're here. There's a local presence. We want to get like a good footprint here. Then we said, okay, which markets are similar from a buying behavior type perspective? So it's the UK, it's Germany, and it's France. And what obviously would happen is, if you look at the Netherlands and you see the Nordics, they're the same, right? Early adopters, good economical strength, and they buy technology. But just let's say we have 5 countries. What's really important is we, on purpose, chose for these countries because it allows us to sell in 2 different currencies, pounds and euros. There are 4 languages that we tackle. So what it allows us to do is we can pilot, and we spoke about price localization, right? We can test something in Germany, or we do something with creativity, with wording, marketing. Of course, we all sell SaaS, right? So we never have, it's not like hardware, that you run out of hardware. So we can generate license codes as we go, but let's try something German. It doesn't spill over because the French people don't speak German. Let's say the first 1,000 licenses, or people who buy the first 1,000 licenses, 50% off. It's not going to ruin the market at the other side. So you can do controlled pilots, but the understanding of these markets really help you understand the country-specific nuances, right? Who are the competitors in your market? Could be different. What price level do they operate? Can we leverage that? Who are the influential people in those regions? But from a marketing and brand awareness perspective, you can also identify which events you need to go to create some brand awareness. But with 5 countries, I'm not going to burn a lot of money from a digital paid search advertisement, right? It's controlled. The one thing that we have done is that we did do a competitor string, so to make sure that if people are looking for an alternative to any of our competitors, they come to a landing page, but we don't do anything else. So I also think the opportunity is here to be really relevant if you focus on a limited set of countries. So it helps you to understand and adapt quickly to market nuances and changes, but also, like the second hire that I've done was a customer success person. I think there's many customer success people. I agree, it's the most important task, because eventually you can't supplement a loss in your existing business with new business because your existing business is so large. So that's how important it is. I echo everything that has been said. But what this customer success person does is they can help you create those brand advocates, customer referrals, case studies that people and brands recognize in their respective geos. So really important, right? So people would like to see something that they can relate to. And you also need a limited amount of resources. So yes, I need to hire a French speaker, a German speaker native, because that's what the markets require and demand, right? But I also think the really nice part is that because you have limited resources, people feel accountable for a region. So there's a natural competition going on that people say, I'm going to show you my return of my region, the French region is much stronger. No, the DACH region is stronger. No, let's watch it UK. So it's really nice competitive, but those are the feet and the ears on the ground that give you the right information so you can adopt. But I think the most important thing is you are building a measurable machine. So because the markets are similar from a buying behavior, the only difference is that France and UK roughly have 70 million population, Germany 90 million, is that you can document all your learnings, all your failures. You can get all the information that you need to build a blueprint, right? What is your close ratio? How many leads do you need to get your people to your website? How many sales qualified leads? How many opportunities? What's this average sales cycle? And if you create this, you can really create a playbook when you exactly know when you can be successful and when you should open a new market. So, to my point earlier, it's all about data. So I'm going to leave two documents behind. One on the left is something that I use as a bottoms-up, right? I know in my markets that I operate, and if you don't know, there are industry standard numbers. I use the numbers from the United States, now I use my numbers, but I know what my close rate for my sales team is. Like from opportunity to close one, I identified a common handover from marketing to sales. I call that the sales qualified lead. So the sales qualified lead, I on purposely don't do sales accepted. I want to have a little bit of cushion between sales qualified and sales accepted. We agree on the definition of a sales qualified lead. Then 80% of those become sales accepted, become opportunities. 30% I close. I know my average sales price. So what I do, if I want to generate 1 million revenue or 2 million or 10 million in a certain country in a certain time, I can calculate back to how many sales qualified leads I need to become successful in the region. So with our historical information that we extrapolated of those mini pilots in region, those contained pilots, we can understand which highest converting marketing lead sources need to be associated to be able to hit my plan. And on the right, I think what's really important is that marketing should also be accountable. It's one team, right? Hand in hand. We can't do anything without each other. They should be accountable to a marketing pipeline number, which is typically 3 to 4x, depending on your organization, what the sales target is. And what they can do is like, you can create a 9-box, right? It can be the lead quality over time. It represents a certain value. And then on the left, you do either the industry or the size of a company. And so that if an enterprise customer comes to us with a quote request, ooh, that's really high value. But if it's a small company that just downloads a white paper, that's really low value. It doesn't matter how they get to the sales target. Like, it's about efficiency and gains. And I think this is how we play it out to model a plan to go international. So hopefully this helps you understand that a good strategy is saying no to other good ideas, to focus, and we had the advantage of 4 different languages, 2 currencies, so we can do tests without ruining strategy, and now it's time for us to expand outside those regions. And with that, I would like to thank you and continue networking later on.